playing against like Death and Taxes because they like recruiter chain you in response to your combo.
Oh, that's super sweet.
And then
I played against Alurin and just didn't cast my stuff for free. I should have.
I've seen someone tutor for Relic Warder and then Relic Warder the key artifact piece and just not let the combo continue.
I could have cast Tarmogoyf in response to them going off, but it didn't. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered much.
Yeah.
I played this matchup on Moto a bunch, testing for GP Louisville.
Okay. So the combo involves Parasitic Strix, which, when it enters the battlefield, checks for, I think it's a black permanent?
Yes, if you control a black permanent.
You drain the opponent for 2 life.
Yep, so it's 2 and a blue for a 2/2 flying artifact creature bird.
Yeah.
And then if you control a black permanent when it comes into play, your opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life.
Yes, and Cavern Harpy lets you pick up a creature.
When it comes into play, you return a blue or black creature. It's black-blue for a 2/1 flyer. Yes. And when it comes into play, return a blue or black creature you control to its owner's hand.
Yeah.
And then for the cost of 1 life, you can return your Cavern Harpy. So you lose a life but gain 2 every single time, and you just
and you rinse and repeat that loop. Yes. So as long as you're at higher than 1 life, the loop works.
This deck can also work. Is very, very good at just being like a fair, kind of grindy Shardless deck.
Yeah, because it does feature 4 Shardless agents. So here we see Joe lead on a dual land and cast a Ponder, and he didn't shuffle. Unclear what his hand is. And then after passing the turn, his opponent...
I actually think John mulligan to...
he's on a mulligan to 4.
He mulliganed to 4,
yes.
missed a land drop, must have scryed into a land, and just passed the turn.
Yeah.
And then Joe led on his turn with Underground Sea Ponder.
And so he's going to lead on a Sensei's Divining Top. Right. That's a 1 out of his main deck. Obviously, it's going to shine here to try to smooth out him being down so many cards.
He also has 1 Ancestral Vision.
Yes.
It's tough here for Joe because he could possibly could have forced this top, but then he goes down 2 cards, and I don't think he wants to do that because he's up so many cards.
Yeah. So he's going to lead here on a Deathrite into a Delver. These are going to be 2 relevant.
Yeah, his start
pieces.
is good.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to mess around. He'll let John mess around with top all he wants because he's just going to top wildly and run out of spend his mana too much.
So we saw John do an upkeep shortcut where he just didn't untap his land and point at the top. This was him trying to spin for a land, probably. Mm-hmm. And then he missed and said go.
And Delver flips off Brainstorm, and here we go with...
Yes.
So Delver, this is basically all Joe has to do.
Yeah.
From a theoretical perspective, he has initiative here and need not do anything else, as he can just leave up his reactive spells and beat down with this Delver.
Yeah. And he's obviously leaving up the Deathrite, potentially for mana, but otherwise for drain activations.
If John gets his own Deathrite eventually, it would be pertinent likely for Joe to start using his Deathrite to brick John's Deathrite just because he's so far ahead.
Just start eating up the yards? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. So here we see him making mana. Is this going to be a Jace?
Leovold,
probably.
Okay,
so this is a Leovold, yes.
Yep.
Joe does love his foils.
This is a rough one for John here.
Yeah. So he's, again, spinning top in the upkeep, and it looks like he's missed again. I believe he's just revealing.
He's letting the camera know that he has no lands.
Yeah. This is an unfortunate way to go, obviously, right? Yeah. Losing game 1 off a deck reg error and then just getting
It just shows, though, it's a nice cautionary tale, those of you at home, those of you watching. Just count your deck list 7 times.
So this is actually
8 times. Just
this is actually
do it over and over.
A funny error where he wrote the right number but didn't write a card. So his deck does count to 60. He just has an empty line.
He wrote 4 blank instead of 4 Shardless Agent.
Which is unfortunate, but he'll never make this mistake again. You can be sure of that.
I've been late to tournaments and just had to do this so fast so many times. But most of the decks I play, I memorized them, so it's pretty sweet. We see an obnoxious Expedition from Joe.
Joe loves Expeditions. I believe every fetch land in his deck is going to be an Expedition.
Beautiful FBB dual lands.
So Joe is actually a sucker for promos. It doesn't actually matter what the cost is. He just likes promo versions of cards more than the other versions of cards. He's a foil connoisseur. His vintage deck is also outstanding looking.
Jeskai Mentor, right?
Yes.
I covered him at the main event for EE5, and he took the whole thing down with Jeskai Mentor.
Yeah,
with some weird cards main deck, including Narset Transcendent.
So he's a super tight player. He doesn't always jam the most stock legacy lists, but he always plays quite tight. And he's also very clear about what he's doing, right? You'll see him tap the deck when he's ready to draw and stuff like that. Like he's very, very clean in his operations.
Yeah, I mean, communication's super important in a format like this where there's as many weird, subtle things going on, like ponders and make sure your opponent cuts your deck and this and that and all that stuff. So
here we're gonna see an attack for 7. He's just attacking with Deathrite Shaman. Maybe that means there's no food in the yard. Do we? Oh, okay.
Well, there is, but he just felt like he's gonna spend all his mana. This turn.
So this is just game, right?
And like he knows that there's not a land on top, so he
and then he's just forced to draw.
It's
the
like
top
a double
again.
time walk or a time walk. It's at least one time walk, if not 2.
And like we said, Joe, no stranger to casting time walk.
Oh, he's got the days too, so it's just academic here.
Yeah, this is the match. I mean,
have a backup match though. Life's great. There's always another match.
There's always more Magic to watch, just like there's always more Magic to play.
And now for clock considerations, because attack drops him to 4, so he'll be attacking for 5 from 9 to 4. And he's got for 3. So this is 2 Deathrite activations either way, though.
Yeah, and notably,
he
Tropical Island
main phase activate Deathrite at F6.
Yeah, Tropical Island notably does not cast Abrupt Decay on its own or Swords at all. So this Deathrite's just living and killing him. He also can't Miracle Terminus, which would be the out right now.
Activate Deathrite. Eat Ponder or
untap.
Eat Daze. Eat Daze is a correct play.
Untap, beat my Ponder. Game.
Subtly bluff Snapcaster, but it could not matter less.
Yeah.
Just untap, turn him sideways.
Yeah, go to attacks. Shake my hand, please.
Yeah.
So that's super unfortunate, but,
Joe offers the cautious handshake like, sorry, man.
Yeah. So that's a super hairy thing, right? Because sometimes some people will get super frustrated if you offer the handshake, but I think Joe definitely read the situation and made sure he offered it.
I think,
yeah.
I know that Joe wouldn't have wanted Joe of course wants to win, but you don't ideally want the match to go that way because like you want to play games and stuff.
Yeah.
I've got a backup match, which is great.
Yeah, Joe is super solid guy. I actually watched him scoop a game that he couldn't possibly lose because he played 2 lands by accident.
Oh wow!
And that was at one of these events, and he got 9th on an X1 record because of how good of a guy he was. So, Joe, no stranger to bad beats, but always a solid guy.
And we've got should